When it comes to alternative fuels, the conversation usually revolves around compressed natural gas or biofuels such as ethanol or biodiesel. But even before the concept of low-carbon or carbon-neutral fuels existed, a few early producers and daring drivers tried something completely different: wood. These cars were based on gasification, a process in which gases produced by burning wood are directed into the engine cylinders, where they are compressed and ignited, just as conventional cars use a mixture of gasoline and air. The first automobile fuel from natural coal was obtained by the German chemical engineer Friedrich Bergius in 1911. In 1920, the German engineer Georges Imbert developed a design for a gas generator unit suitable for installation on any vehicle. Since the end of the 20s, Imbert's generator units have been mass-produced in almost all countries, with an automobile industry, and sometimes even attracted the attention of local artists, and were willingly displayed in their works. Aftermarket companies were keen to sell kits to upgrade existing vehicles, and by the end of the 1930s, in Europe alone, there were about 500,000 vehicles equipped with such installations. While wood energy initially attracted some attention from early automakers, it ultimately had its own set of drawbacks. The primary problems were the weight of the wood gas generator systems, the fact that they reduced engine power and required a huge amount of wood, which was not acceptable to the end user. Most systems required wood in pieces no longer than 3 inches long and 2 inches in diameter, which was stored for at least 6 months to dry thoroughly. Hardwoods such as birch and oak were best, but woods with high resin content were to be avoided. Some systems were set up to burn charcoal, which also had the disadvantage of being highly sensitive to humidity. Most systems included a furnace to burn the fuel, as well as a cooler and filter for the resulting gases, all connected by a network of pipes. Operating a vehicle powered by wood was also quite labor-intensive. All these disadvantages led to the system having to be modified. Installations began to appear, which could be fueled not only by wood, but also by wood and coal, peat, and agricultural waste. During startup, the driver had to check whether the gas was clean enough to be used in the engine, which sometimes led to fires. The operating principle of the gas generator unit is as follows. Producer gas is produced when a thin stream of air passes through a bed of hot coals. The coals may be produced by burning wood, charcoal, coke, coal, peat, or waste materials such as corn cobs, peanut shells, sawdust, bagasse, and paper. The gas is produced in a gasifier, a metal vessel with a firebox, grate, air intakes, and an outlet for the produced gas. It consists of carbon monoxide and hydrogen. In the cylinder of a spark-ignited gasoline engine, the gas can be ignited in the usual way using existing spark plugs. In diesel engines, producer gas itself is not flammable. However, diesel equipment can run on producer gas. The gas is mixed with combustion air, and then a small amount of diesel fuel is injected into the cylinders to ignite it. U.S. Department of Energy Office of Scientific and Technical Information published a technical report on turning an agricultural tractor to wood gas power. This report is one in a series of emergency technology assessments sponsored by the Federal Emergency Management Agency. The purpose of this report is to develop detailed, illustrated instructions for the fabrication, installation, and operation of a biomass gasifier that is capable of providing emergency fuel for vehicles such as tractors and trucks, in the event that normal petroleum sources were severely disrupted for an extended period of time. These instructions have been prepared as a manual for use by any mechanic who is reasonably proficient in metal fabrication or engine repair. This report attempts to preserve the knowledge about wood gasification that was put into practical use during World War II. Detailed step-by-step fabrication procedures are presented for a simplified version of the World War II Imbert wood gas generator. Below, in the description of the video, I will leave a link to this report in PDF format. For anyone who wants to read it or assemble a gas generator unit with their own hands, I recommend downloading it. Wood gas cars were not the only answer to the gasoline shortage. Cars with gas cylinders were built during World War I, and especially World War II in France, the Netherlands, Germany, and England as an improvised solution to the problem of gasoline shortages. In addition to cars, buses and trucks were also equipped with this technology. The cars consumed town gas, or street gas, a byproduct of the process of converting coal into coke, which is used to make iron. The only way to get a practical range was to use an extremely large fuel tank. Buses were better suited to this than cars, with a full-size gas bag on the roof rack. This could be contained in a streamlined fairing, but this was often not the case. Private cars were equipped with a wooden frame that was attached to the roof and reinforced bumpers of the vehicle. It was hard not to notice a car with a gas cylinder passing by. Witnesses of a passing car could easily see how much fuel was left. The gas tank was fully inflated at the start of the trip and deflated with each mile traveled. The gas storage bags were made of silk or other fabrics impregnated with rubber. These bags were much cheaper and easier to make than metal tanks. They could also be repaired in the same way as bicycle tires. The bag was attached to the roof with rings and straps. But these vehicles also had their risks. One obvious risk was a fire that could cause a gas explosion. As a result, people waiting for the bus were urged not to smoke. Another risk was bridges and other overhead obstacles. The driver needed to know the exact height of the vehicle and the bridges he or she planned to drive under. In the early 1940s, when oil supplies for civilian use ran out in Europe, Asia, and Australia, producer gas was responsible for putting trucks, buses, taxis, tractors, and other vehicles back on the road. Gas generator units were actively used in the Third Reich. Since the early 1940s, the production of cars and trucks in Germany exceeded the country's capacity to produce fuel for them. After visiting an exhibition of Mercedes-Benz heavy trucks equipped with charcoal gas generators in 1940, Adolf Hitler declared, "Cars of this type will retain their special significance after the war, since with the current course of increased mechanization, we will never have a surplus of liquid fuel, and we will always depend on imports. Thus, additional fuel benefits our national economy." And already by the autumn of 1941, about 150,000 generator gas vehicles were in use in Germany and in the territories it controlled. The goal at that time was to save every drop of fuel for the Wehrmacht. Generator gas vehicles, saving about 45 million liters of liquid fuel every month, made a significant contribution to achieving this goal. On May 30, 1942, Reichsmarshal Göring signed a decree on the opening of the Central Generator Chancellery. The tasks facing it were to increase the production of generators, to determine new types based on the current fuel situation, to develop new types of solid fuel for use in generators, and to develop suitable low-temperature carbonization processes, etc. At the same time, Göring told his closest associates, "I say, in my aforementioned decree, regarding the need to make Germany, as well as the occupied territories and subject lands, largely independent of liquid fuels as soon as possible. I would ask you to energetically support the efforts of the Central Office by increasing the use of gas generators." And already on September 22, 1942, Reich Minister of Armaments and War Industry Speer signed an order for the conversion of all medium and heavy vehicles, including buses, in all territories occupied by Germany. It should be noted that gas generator vehicles were widely used in Germany in the post-war period. Here is a gas-powered Mercedes from the Berlin Taxi Company. Note the numbers. Until 1947, cars registered in the Soviet sector of Berlin had Cyrillic letters in the number. Today, such installations for cars are not used on an industrial scale. The only country that uses this type of transport is North Korea. The use of cars with smoke generators in North Korea is due to the scarcity of material resources and harsh sanctions against the occupation regime, which limits the development of the population in this territory of Korea, both in the technical and material direction. To set such North Korean jalopies in motion, two people are needed. One of them directly drives the car and is in the cabin. The second is busy processing wood into chips and loading it into the smoke generator. If you liked my film, please like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.